Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sherman D. Manning joining you live from Los Angeles, California. This is the day which the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. You're joining me live on Beat the Press. Listen to me. Donald, Donald, Donald is a modern day Adolf Hitler. Donald is the chief narcissist. Donald is a pathological liar. He raped his ex-wife, according to reports by Tim Mack. He's a pedophile, according to reports by 3 investigators. He is currently molesting Barron. He is a sick man. He is about as authentic as his hair. He's like cotton candy to the angry and the frustrated and the hate-filled. He smells good and looks good to them, apparently. But when you bite down into him, there's nothing there that will stick to the ribs. If you see Donald, the only thing I can tell you is if you see him, beware, 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 beware. Let the word go out that Donald is a sick man. I have a question for you, my fellow Americans. What kind of man states that, quote, if I were not married, quote, I'd screw my own daughter because she's so sexy, end quote. Donald stated that. That one statement alone disqualifies him from passing the commander-in-chief test. Who jokes like that? What kind of mental apparatus must one have to even fix one's mind to conjure up that kind of thought process? It's like, who jokes about screwing animals? Unless you're into bestiality, unless it's subconsciously somewhere down inside you, some kind of latent ideation is there. A sick man. What man in his right mind considers it a privilege, a blessing to be endorsed, in a sense, by Putin? Anybody who is proud of supportive words and accolades by Putin is a person starving for attention, is a person who cannot be trusted with the codes to the nuclear arsenal of the greatest superpower on earth. On earth. Let's forget about how great he entertains and all that other good stuff for a little while. Let's forget about how funny he can be and how sensational and how he can be cutting and biting and gripping. Let's forget about all of that for a moment and just ask yourself if this country is faced with a nuclear disaster, faced with a situation where submarines might have to be ordered, faced with a dire emergency involving our nuclear arsenal, involving the potential for war. The only question is this the man? Is this the kind of man that we want sitting in the driver's seat, sitting in the cockpit, and being able to order nuclear warfare? Is this the kind of man we want to send to represent this country on a world stage? Is this the kind of man we want negotiating with Angela Merkel, negotiating with the leaders of Iraq, Libya, Russia, Ukraine, Pakistan. This is serious business. The presidency is not a joke. The presidency is not entertainment tonight. The president is not Johnny come lately. This is a serious thing. And we ought to be able to tell that by how much we criticize whoever is currently in office. And this happens almost every time. Whoever is in office, when there's an emergency, when there are big things going on and events that can alter the course of history, we criticize that person who's leading. We know that. We criticized President Obama for not bombing Syria. We criticized him. But what we tend to forget is that the Congress voted against it. It boggles my mind when people criticize him and bring up the so-called red line and the fact that he did not bomb Syria after Assad used chemical weapons on his own people. And yet the president, who ran on a platform that this was a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and that he was not a dictator, and that the majority should rule, the president asked the Congress for the right, for permission, for authorization to bomb Syria. And the Congress said no. And everybody tends to forget that the Congress said no. And when he did not act as a dictator and bomb Syria anyway, he was criticized for not bombing Syria. Now, had he bombed Syria, then the Congress would have criticized him for going around Congress. So you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. But my point being, would we have wanted Donald there? Because I guarantee you Donald would have bombed them. And Donald would be bombing Russia right now. And we would literally, virtually be in World War III. We'd see the end of the world as we know it. This is a scary man. Not because he has balls, not because he's courageous or somehow mentally gifted, but because in some sense he's a nutcase. I don't want a narcissist in charge of my country. I don't want a narcissist with his finger anywhere near the red button. He can't be trusted. We can't take that kind of chance. So my fellow Americans, this is my beacon call to all Americans of goodwill and good conscience, to everybody who loves this country, black, white, dark, light. If you are a citizen, you need to speak out against this man, and you need to deny him entry into the people's house, which is the White House. He's a dangerous man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. My new book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice, is selling like hotcakes. You need to get a copy. If you are watching the FX series, The People versus O.J. Simpson, you will find this book very interesting. It not only deals with O.J., but it deals with the no-J's of the criminal system. It shows that the rich get richer, but the poor get prison. You need to get a copy of The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice, now available in local bookstores and at Amazon.com. Sherman D. Manning. We'll see you later. Keep hope alive. And remember, if you see Donald,